we go. Oh man! EV sales are booming these days, and in Canada, the #2 selling EV company in the country, you might not know this, is Hyundai. Well, today we're in beautiful, sunny San Diego. Maybe not so sunny, and it's not very beautiful right now. It is howling out here. The wind and the rain, it's going sideways. I'm scared that we're gonna be blown right off this road. But we are in the brand new Hyundai IONIQ 5. I don't know if you can even see this vehicle is moving from the wind. It is blowing that hard. But have no fear, we do have some dry shots of this new IONIQ 5. So one thing, this is not just an important vehicle for Hyundai and for EV potential buyers, it's a very important vehicle for me. You see, we are looking to replace our Highlander that we just sold, and we want either a PHEV or an EV, and we've been looking at all sorts of different options, and this one really might hit the sweet spot for us. This IONIQ 5 is built off of Hyundai's dedicated eGMP EV platform, and even though this is a hatchback style of vehicle, this offers the longest wheelbase in the entire Hyundai lineup. The wheelbase of this vehicle is actually longer than the Palisade, their 3-row SUV. So that gives you an idea how big it is and how much room you'll get on the inside because of that longer wheelbase. The styling, they say, is retro modern, and retro is they've kind of styled it after a 70s concept vehicle. The modern part, well, just look at it. There are so many different angles and a lot of geo shapes, starting from the front. First of all, in pictures, I didn't see this, but in person, the right below or the headlights on the bumper, it actually lights up. And when it's not lit up, you don't see any type of lens on it at all. It looks really, really cool. I've never seen anything like that on a production vehicle. Then you get to the lights, which look like pixels. So they have a pixel design, even though they're LED, and they operate as the daytime running lights. And when the signal lights are on, they're super, super bright as well. Under the bumper, you have active air intakes. They can close or open depending on the needs for cooling the vehicle. The IONIQ 5 comes in either a rear-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive configuration. So we are in the all-wheel drive, and because this has the motor for the front-wheel drive portion of the all-wheel drive, you do get a little bit of front storage or front trunk area. If you get the rear-wheel drive only, you actually do get more room. This one comes with 20-inch aero wheels. I like them. They don't look like just pure solid discs. And look at the side, depending on where you look and how the light hits the different angles, this kind of like parametric shape, it looks really cool. And a lot of people are taking notice of it driving around, even in this rain. And a lot of times I've mentioned, I like cars that don't scream, look at me, I'm different. And it's true, I like regular looking cars, but I have to admit, this IONIQ 5 does look pretty cool, and I think it looks definitely better in person than it does in pictures. In the rear, it continues the parametric theme. You have those rear tail lights that look like pixels, but they are LED. This does come standard with a power liftgate, and it's a hands-free one. So you just stand back there, it opens up. Once open, you're welcomed with a generous storage area. This will hold 3 large suitcases or 3 golf bags if you want. And the cargo area is kind of flexible because the rear seats slide back and forth. So if you need more room and you don't have anyone up front or small kids up front, or in the middle, you can put those seats up and get more room. One neat feature the IONIQ 5 has is called V2L. So it essentially uses the vehicle as a generator, so you can pull power out of it to power certain things. So you get 1.9 kilowatts or 1900 watts of power, which is more than enough to power most of your regular household appliances per se, you know, small ovens and grills, and you can go tailgating with it, TVs, all that. Now if you go for the top trim, this is the ultimate trim here, you do get outlets in the back seat. But regardless of what trim you get, if you want to use that V2L system, use that onboard power, you can buy an adapter, and it's about 300 Canadian dollars, and it just plugs right into the charging port. So it's a bi-directional system. Not only does it actually put power in, but you can take power out. And that's really handy, once again, not just for tailgating and camping, but if you have a power outage at home, hey, you can use your vehicle to power your house. Getting in, you have these pop-out recessed door handles, easy to use, pretty cool. Now let's have a look inside. The interior has a living room concept. Well, talk about living room, I feel like I'm on a couch right now. You can go into relaxation mode with this vehicle, and let's just move it back up and get into a normal seating position. So relaxation mode, there's a leg rest that even comes up like an ottoman for the front seat. Sure, you cannot drive like that, but hey, you know those times when you're waiting for the kids, you know, a dance class or something like this, and you're tired and you want to take a little nap or just sit back and, you know, cruise your social media, you can do that in relaxation. So we have heated seats, of course, heated and cooled seats in this vehicle, but it is so spacious in here, and that's the crazy thing. There is so much room in front of the dash. There's so much headroom here. Now this is equipped with this sky panoramic roof, and what's neat is when you close it up, it's a clamshell. It actually closes from the front and the back, and it meets in the middle. I love these door pulls for the door handle. It's essentially the length of the door, so it doesn't matter where you grab, you have something to grab onto here. You have, of course, a flat floor for the front and the back. Love that. So if you want to place things in front that aren't going to roll around, of course, you don't want to place things that can actually get jammed in your pedals there, but you do have an area there. I have my piece of pie that I ordered for to go, and this middle console here actually slides back and forth quite a bit, actually. So if you even want more room up front, you can actually put something there or move it forward and back. For USBs, you have one USB the very front near the floor, two in the console here, and two in the rear. Now these USBs are Type A, which is kind of odd now because most manufacturers are going to the Type C or both Type A and C. This is only Type A. Front, you have two 12.3 inch screens. This is your command center, and it really does have a futuristic look, but it still reminds you of a conventional vehicle. It's not just one single screen, and unlike some other vehicles like for instance the Mach-E or the ID4 that do have driver screens that are very small, this gives you your standard 12.3 inch screen there. On the left of it, it's kind of interesting. You have this speaker mesh material, and it's metal. You can apparently put magnets and tap things on there, you know, reminders or something like that. Up front, this has a huge head-up display. It's full color. We're going to talk about it later when we drive it because it has an augmented reality feature to it. Depending on what trim you get, this is the preferred long-range all-wheel drive with the ultimate package in Canada. And so it actually has the 360 camera and the blind spot monitor. So blind spot monitor, when we put our signal on, we have cameras on either side, and it will give you your image in that driver's display. And for our backup camera, let's hit that. We can see our backup camera. We have a 360 camera as well, and you can even go and it superimposes. You can actually rotate around your car if you'd like. Now, one thing about this, in Canada for this trim, you need the Ultimate package, which is the top package to get the 360 camera. It does not come in any other standalone option at all. And I really wish, you know, that I could get that option and getting the lower trim. Maybe I don't need all-wheel drive, but I want that 360 camera, and it really sucks that I have to get that top package to get that camera, because with all the cars that we drive now, and being where we live and where we park, it's super tight, and we rely on that 360 camera a lot. For any vehicles that we have, and when you don't have it, you just feel lost. So anyways, I really wish they could give you an option to get that camera. Connection-wise, you have wireless Apple CarPlay, you also have Android Auto on here, and if we go into the menu, we have all sorts of different options. Of course, you can do, basically you're driving a computer in a way. You can see how you're driving. You can change the display. I've changed it from white to black or dark. It's a little easier on the eyes on the dark for me, but sometimes, hey, if you want it brighter, go into the white, or you can make it so it does it by itself. And similar to the ID4 that we drove, this uses a lot of touch control. However, I would rate this definitely a little bit better than the ID4, because you do have some buttons, and you do have like a regular volume knob, you have a toggle switch as well, you have regular switches on the steering wheel, so it's not as touch centric. Now this is a dual climate control. It is not a tri-zone. The rear seats do have vents, but they do not have their own control, and this is the top trim. The design is really, really fresh. It's simplistic, but not too simple. I like Tesla, and I like the Model 3 and the Model Y. However, I just find that it's just a little too simple having that one screen there, and I like to have some redundant controls, not having to do everything through the menu, and it's just, yeah, I think they have a nice balance here of simplistic and modern design. The materials all feel very, very good. One thing to note, that they do not have anything on the center of the steering wheel. They have 4 dots there, and it just feels like it's kind of missing something on there. Does it bother me very much? You know, no, not really. But it is kind of odd though. But I love the ambient lighting. It lights up in that door pull area. You have lots of storage room, and overall, it feels like really good quality. This feels like you are in a premium vehicle. The Ultimate also comes with the upgraded Bose system. Sounds really good. Decent bass for sure on this one. One thing that I like is the shift-by-wire, the gear selector on this IONIQ 5. It's on the actual steering wheel stock, and it's separate. You know, it's far down from your wiper, and it's really, really simple. It doesn't move like toggle up and down. You just have a lever. So you want to go forward, drive, just rotate it forward. You're in drive. Backward to go into reverse, and park is just hit the big P button. That's it. Super easy. Let's have a look in the back. In the rear, lots of room back here. Lots of leg room. I would like to see a little bit more height for my feet though, but this will seat 3 back here quite comfortably, and there is no hump, which is nice. And since that middle console slides forward and back, if you have someone in the middle, it'd be really nice that you can slide that console all the way forward to give that person more leg room or foot room for sure. You have your USBs. As mentioned, no rear climate control, but you do have these nice side vents on either side for your air vents here. Manual sunshades. That's always a bonus. You have those big door pulls, just like the front. And the seats, first of all, you do have a fold down armrest and drink holder. If you need more room, you can fold the seats, but you can recline the seats almost in infinite positions. Okay, I think about there would be good. And of course, you can slide the seats back and forth as mentioned. So if we want more cargo room, we can slide all the way up here. and that gains quite a bit of room. So overall, a decent amount of room. This would actually work for our family. I gotta get back in the front to drive. I'm scared. Oh man, I've never ever experienced this on a press launch, ever. This much rain and this much wind, it's insane. This is insane. Like, this has gotta be the rainiest, windiest day in San Diego this year for sure. So anyways, I think I'm gonna climb through the front, through the middle here. Wish me luck. Well, let's get driving. A little rain's not gonna dampen our spirits. When I say dampen, it's pouring out here. Of all the days to rain in San Diego, it has to be today. Oh well. Anyways, as you can hear, it's very quiet, as most EVs are. We are on these beautiful twisty roads. We're outside of San Diego right now, heading to Julian. Gonna have some barbecue lunch there. So yeah, so far, what do I think of the drive? I like it a lot. Let me explain what's under the hood, or what's under the vehicle first of all. Let's start off with battery-wise. There are two different battery packs. There is a smaller 58 kilowatt hour, and the long range is 77.4 kilowatt hours for battery. They are both thermally managed. We also mentioned we have those active shutters in the front. That's going to help in the management of the airflow. If you go for just the standard range, the smaller battery with the rear wheel drive, that's going to give you 168 horsepower. Not a whole bunch, but once you go into the longer range, the 77 kilowatt hour, that boosts that horsepower to 225 horsepower. If you go to the all-wheel drive, which you have to get the long range for, you get 320 horsepower and 444 pound-feet of torque. So we are just in regular normal mode right now, and if we go into sport mode, we are on there's a little straight here. Let's just brake here and just see from zero. Oh, there we go. Whoa. Sorry, that was my suitcase slamming back there. So 0 to 60 in just over 5 seconds. So that's very, very quick. Actually, 0 to 100 is 5.1. So 0 to 60 might be even actually in the 4s. It all depends on the conditions. Right now it's kind of wet, but yeah, we had 0 wheel slippage at all. And if you look on the gauge, we can change our gauge of these screens here, and we can see that when it's applying the actual traction to the front wheels. And a lot of times when you're just cruising around, in sport mode right now, it is defaulted to go basically 50-50 for front and rear power. If we go back into normal, we'll wait for that. There we go. Okay, now you can see it's basically running as a rear wheel drive vehicle. It's not until I accelerate a little harder that you'll see that it applies some torque to the front wheels. So that's going to save you a little bit on your juice, and it's just more efficient, and it's very engaging to drive. Braking wise, there are a few different regen options. First one, which is default, I love it. It's the auto regen feature, and we talked about this when I drove the Porsche Taycan, meaning we're driving right now, there's no traffic in front of us. When I let off the throttle, it just coasts. And it's very, very nice. I like that type of drive. I don't like a lot of regen. However, if you come up to another vehicle in front of you, it detects that, it'll apply some regen braking. It does it automatically for you. If you don't want the auto, you just hold that right paddle, it comes off auto, you're at level 0 to start, and that is no auto, just basically free coasting. I go level 1, so you can feel a little bit of drag, and I like level 1 for these type of roads. So these real twisty canyon type of roads, I can just let off, it'll just slow me down just enough and put some juice back into the battery without me having to hit the brakes at all. Or I can go level 2, a little more aggressive, level 3, of course, even more so. And if I go to the very last one, we go and we have I pedal. That's the maximum amount of regen, and if I let off the throttle, you can feel a lot of regen, and this is essentially one pedal driving. In the corners, this thing is extremely stable. You can see I'm not putting a lot of correction into any of these turns at all. It's handling these tight corners like a champ. It feels very, very planted. Of course, you have all that weight from the batteries, and they're very low, giving you a nice low center of gravity. It pulls you out of the corner really nice. We're just in normal mode right now. I really like what the engineers have done with the suspension on this IONIQ 5. They really created a nice balance between comfort and being responsive and engaging to drive. When you push it even a little bit beyond what you should push it, everything's very controllable and it's quiet. Too bad, you know, we have so much rain in here right now, if you're listening to the rain, but the vehicle is very aerodynamic. You have aerodynamic wheels, good acoustic glass, and we've been driving over some pretty rough roads, especially a lot of the concrete roads and highways, and they're, you know, those roads are really normally very, very loud. And this cabin has really done a good job of isolating you from a lot of that harshness. The IONIQ 5 has an industry-first multi-voltage charging system, so it can operate under 400 or 800 volts. This means that it can charge really fast if you can find a charger fast enough. For instance, if you hook this to a DC fast charger that is greater than 250 kilowatts, you can charge from 10 to 80% in only 18 minutes. Or if you want just a quick bump in juice, 5 minutes will get you 109 kilometers or around 60 miles in just 5 minutes. Regular level 2 charging, whether it's at a public station or one that you have installed in your house, the 220, will go 10 to 100% in just 6 hours and 43 minutes. All very, very respectable times. Range-wise, the rear-wheel drive with the standard range will get you 354 kilometers. If you go up to the long-range rear-wheel drive, you get 488 kilometers, and when you go for the all-wheel drive long range, that gets reduced down to 414 kilometers. So if you compare that to a lot of the competition, it is right in the mix there. So make sure, check with your local Hyundai website where you live and what market you live in. Your trims may be different than the ones that we're talking about. These are Canadian trims here, but you know, whether you're in Canada or US, the ranges are going to be the same anyways. But the trim, the packages might be a little bit different, and the pricing might be a little bit different as well. The visibility is very good in here, and even though this is kind of like a larger hatch in a way, you do ride fairly high up, so people that are used to SUVs will enjoy the ride height of this. One thing to note though, the IONIQ 5 does not come with a rear wiper, and that's one thing I wish they would add on. I know it looks cleaner, but I like a clean window. Give me a clean window. I'm actually quite surprised how well the Highway Driving Assistant 2 works in these conditions. And it's really handy, not for even hands-free driving, but I'm having a hard time even seeing the lane markings because of so much water, yet this thing is tracking so well in between the lines that I can barely see at all, which is a big benefit for safety. We're rounding a bend right now, and yeah, even if you have your hands on the wheel, it's just helping out just that little bit to keep you in the lane. A lot of times these type of systems don't work very well in bad weather, and this is about as bad as you can get without being snowing, for the cameras to work and everything. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. Hands-free. I'm not sure if you can see beyond the windshield here, but I can barely see anything. This feels a little bit like home here on the West Coast with this type of weather. The last thing that I thought that I'd be testing on this new IONIQ 5 in San Diego was the heated seats and the heated steering wheel. But guess what? They work very well. I've actually turned them off because it was getting a little too warm. So what do you think of this IONIQ 5 so far? And how do you think it compares to vehicles like the Tesla, the Model 3 and the Model Y, the ID4, the Mustang Mach-E? Truthfully, I think this kind of fits kind of in between like the Model 3 and the Model Y. It's priced definitely better. I like the interior better of this. You have comparable performance for not of the Model Y of their all-wheel drive, but definitely of the Model 3 long range. I definitely like the controls better on this compared to the ID4. The ID4 does give you that more SUV-like experience, but like I mentioned, you do ride fairly high in this. The step-in height is decent, and it feels very roomy as well. This is a great overall vehicle, you know, and it's basically, it really hits a sweet spot. And since we are considering an EV, this has now jumped to the top of the list, and I'm serious. I'm pretty well sold on this vehicle, but it's not just my decision, you know, it's the boss, Cynthia, my wife. She's going to have to approve it. And you know, the last time I was sold on a vehicle, I want that Ford F-150 Lightning, and I've tried for months now, and you know where that's gotten me? Nowhere. That's kind of been nixed, that F-150. This might be an easier sell for sure as a family vehicle. So in a few weeks time, I'm gonna have this vehicle back, but in my driveway, where we're gonna do a more extended test of it and see how it handles our family duties as well. We're gonna put this up against a Tesla Model 3 as well. So stay tuned for that. That's gonna be in about 3 to 4 weeks from when you're seeing this video right now. So anyways, that's it from beautiful, almost sunny, not sunny San Diego. I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave a comment, like I said. Also, make sure, give it a thumbs up if you appreciate the effort and the video, and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps the channel out. See you next time. Safe driving.